Welcome back everyone, and thank you for being here today. If you love unbelievable talent, emotional moments, and stories that remind us why music matters, you are in the right place. Today's story is not just about a performance. It is about courage, kindness, and a moment that left an entire audience speechless. What happens when a 10-year-old walks onto one of the biggest stages in the world, holding a guitar almost as big as himself, and chooses to take on a legendary rock anthem? What happens next is something no one expected. The lights are bright, the crowd is buzzing, and the judges are settling into their seats. America's Got Talent 2025 is already packed with singers, dancers, magicians, and comedians, but this moment feels different from the very start. A young boy steps onto the stage, calm but focused, his fingers gently resting on the neck of an electric guitar. His name is announced, his age is revealed, and immediately the audience reacts. 10 years old. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some smile, some laugh softly, and some look skeptical. The judges exchange glances. Simon Cowell leans forward slightly, curious but guarded, as he often is. The host asks a simple question. Why did you choose this song? The boy answers honestly, saying he loves classic rock, and that this song makes him feel powerful. He says he practices every day, not because anyone forces him to, but because he loves the sound of the guitar. There is no arrogance in his voice, no attempt to impress. Just pure passion. As the music begins, something changes instantly. The first notes ring out, sharp and confident. The boy's fingers move with speed and precision that seem impossible for someone his age. The tone is raw, gritty, and full of soul. This is not a child mimicking rock music. This is a rock musician who just happens to be 10 years old. The audience leans in. Phones rise into the air. Within seconds, cheers break out. The rhythm locks in, the solo builds, and suddenly the theater erupts. People are on their feet. The judges' faces transform. One judge's mouth drops open. Another starts laughing in disbelief. And Simon Cowell, known for his tough criticism and high standards, begins to smile. This is where part one truly begins. As the performance continues, the boy closes his eyes, completely lost in the music. He moves with confidence, stepping forward, leaning into the sound, owning the stage like a seasoned performer. Every bend of the string, every powerful strum, feels intentional. There are no mistakes, no hesitation. The crowd responds to every musical moment, clapping, shouting, and cheering louder with each passing second. Simon watches closely. His expression is no longer analytical. It is warm, proud, even. He nods along to the beat, tapping his fingers on the desk. This is rare. Simon Cowell is not easily impressed, and yet here he is, visibly enjoying every second. As the final note rings out, the audience explodes. A standing ovation fills the theater. The sound is overwhelming. The boy stands still for a moment, almost stunned, then smiles shyly. He looks down, then back up, waving slightly, his face glowing with joy. The judges rise to their feet. All of them. This alone is extraordinary. The applause continues, long and loud, refusing to fade. When it finally quiets, the host steps in, barely able to contain excitement. The camera cuts to the judges, and the focus lands on Simon Cowell. Simon leans into the microphone. He pauses, letting the silence build. The boy looks nervous now. 10 years old, standing before one of the most powerful figures in entertainment, waiting to hear his verdict. Simon begins softly. He says that he has seen thousands of performers, many of them twice this boy's age, who never come close to what just happened on that stage. He talks about authenticity, about how true talent cannot be taught, only discovered. He looks directly at the boy and tells him something unforgettable. He says, "You didn't just play a song. You made us feel something. And that is the hardest thing to do in music." The audience cheers again. The boy's eyes widen. Simon continues, his voice calm but sincere. He says that kindness matters in this industry, and that talent like this should be protected, encouraged, and supported, not rushed or exploited. He reminds everyone that this is still a child, and that the joy we just witnessed is what should always come first. This moment changes the tone of the entire night. The other judges praise his confidence, his technique, and his stage presence. One judge says they forgot his age entirely. Another says they would pay to see him in concert right now. The crowd laughs and applauds. The boy nods politely, clearly overwhelmed. When the votes are cast, the result is unanimous. Yes from all judges. The crowd erupts once more. The boy jumps slightly, unable to contain his excitement, then takes a deep breath, trying to stay composed. As he walks off the stage, Simon Cowell watches him go, smiling thoughtfully. There is a sense that something special has just begun. And this brings us into part 2. Backstage, the boy is interviewed, still holding his guitar. His hands shake slightly, adrenaline still rushing. He talks about how he started playing by watching videos online, how his parents always supported him but never pushed him. He says he just wants to keep playing music and make people happy. Social media explodes within minutes. Clips of the performance spread across platforms, racking up millions of views. Headlines call him a future legend. Fans compare his passion to the greats, not because of hype, but because of what they felt watching him play. Simon Cowell addresses the moment later in the episode. He speaks about responsibility. He says that when someone this young shows such extraordinary ability, the role of judges, producers, and audiences is not just to celebrate, but to guide with kindness. He emphasizes that encouragement can shape a future just as much as criticism can destroy it. This message resonates deeply. Viewers comment about how refreshing it is to see kindness paired with honesty. Parents watching at home feel inspired. Young musicians feel seen. Aspiring artists realize that age is not a barrier when passion leads the way. The boy returns later in the season for another performance, stronger, more confident, but still humble. Simon greets him warmly, asking how he is enjoying the journey. The kindness continues, consistent and genuine. There is no pressure, only support. By the time the season progresses, one thing is clear. This 10-year-old rock star did more than shred a legendary song. He reminded the world why music matters. He showed that talent has no age limit. And he proved that when kindness meets greatness, something truly unforgettable happens. As the episode closes, the camera fades on Simon Cowell applauding once more, not just for the music, but for the future it represents. And that is the power of one performance, one guitar, and one moment that will never be forgotten. The lights come up again later that night, and the atmosphere feels different now. Everyone in the theater knows they have witnessed something special, and the energy hasn't faded. Backstage, the 10-year-old guitarist sits quietly on a small couch, his guitar resting beside him. His feet barely touch the floor. Crew members pass by, smiling, giving thumbs up, whispering words of encouragement. He nods politely, still trying to process what just happened. When Simon Cowell walks backstage, the room goes quiet for a moment. Not because of fear, but because of respect. Simon doesn't arrive with cameras pushing in his face or a dramatic entrance. He walks calmly toward the boy, crouches down so they are eye to eye, and speaks gently. He tells him he did something extraordinary, but more importantly, he tells him to enjoy this moment and not rush growing up. He says that talent is powerful, but kindness, patience, and love for what you do are what make a career last. The boy listens carefully, eyes wide, absorbing every word. He nods and smiles, clutching his guitar a little tighter. This isn't just a compliment. It's guidance. It's protection. And it means everything. As the episode airs around the world, reactions pour in. Parents watch with their children and see hope instead of pressure. Young musicians feel inspired instead of intimidated. Music teachers share the clip, pointing out not just the technique, but the joy. Comment sections fill with messages about how refreshing it is to see a child celebrated without being pushed too hard or turned into a spectacle. Simon later speaks to producers about making sure the boys' journey stays healthy. He insists that rehearsal schedules remain balanced, that school comes first, that the fun never disappears. This side of Simon doesn't always make headlines, but it is real. He understands that kindness behind the scenes matters just as much as applause on stage. Weeks pass, and the young rock star returns for the next round. This time, he walks onto the stage with more confidence, but the same humble smile. The judges greet him warmly. Simon jokes lightly, breaking the tension, making the boy laugh. The audience cheers before a single note is played. The performance is different, not louder or faster, but deeper. There is growth. There is control. The boy isn't trying to prove anything anymore. He's just sharing music. When he finishes, the reaction is just as powerful, but more emotional. Simon stands again, applauding slowly, proudly. He tells the audience that this is what nurturing talent looks like. Not pressure, not harshness, but belief. By the time the season reaches its peak, the 10-year-old guitarist has become a symbol. Not just of talent, but of what happens when adults choose encouragement over ego. When judges choose kindness over cruelty. When a child is allowed to shine without being burned by the spotlight. In the finale, as highlights play back, the first audition returns on screen. The moment the guitar roared to life. The look on Simon Cowell's face. The standing ovation. The beginning of something unforgettable. The boy stands on stage one last time that season, waving to the crowd, his parents watching from the sidelines with tears in their eyes. Simon looks on, smiling softly, knowing that this isn't the end of a journey, but the start of a lifetime with music. And long after the season ends, people will remember this moment. Not just because a 10-year-old shredded a legendary rock song, but because the world was reminded that true greatness grows best when kindness leads the way. If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned. More incredible moments are always waiting just around the corner.